Utah is at Colorado Saturday. It's a noon kickoff, 10 a.m. Mountain Time. And no one in Boulder is complaining. They just love the attention. I got a sentence for you, and I want you to go back in time, and I want you to imagine a year younger's version of yourself hearing the following sentence. Colorado controls their destiny, and it's mid-November. What would you have said had I told you that a year ago? What would you have said if I said, a year from now, Colorado, this team that everyone's hating on, rightfully so, is going to control their destiny in the middle of November? You would have probably been fairly surprised, yeah? Well, here they are. All they got to do is win, and they're in. All they got to do is win, and they're in the playoff, by the way. Utah has lost 5 in a row. They were very competitive last week against Brigham Young, and we also have the November air theory in play here. Obviously, all these kids on Colorado's team, most of these coaches on Colorado's team, they haven't breathed that thin November air. And I don't mean literally like mountain air. I mean playoff air. I mean air that coincides with conversations you've never been part of before. Some teams are okay with it. Other teams, other organizations don't handle it so well. Utah's defense is dangerous here because they've gotten healthy, and they are probably the biggest test I think Colorado has faced since Nebraska. And Nebraska shut them down pretty thoroughly. Now, that was a while back. So Colorado has become a lot better as a team. The front seven here will be a pretty big mismatch for Colorado's offensive line, and the crowbar theory is in play because of that. The crowbar theory is when you cannot run the ball, which Colorado really can't all that well, and you're disproportionately reliant on a quarterback making big plays, which Colorado is, you can, if you face the wrong defense, have the crowbar thrown in the bicycle spokes. And the reason that I've always phrased it like that is because your working theory in your mind is if we average, 33 points per game, even if we face a good defense, okay, even if they hold us down, maybe we'll still score 24. But that is not what crowbar theory suggests. Crowbar theory suggests you could be a team that averages 33 per game, but if you face the wrong defense, they just shut you down entirely. Thus, the crowbar is thrown in the spokes. If you throw a crowbar in the bicycle spokes, the bike doesn't slow down. The bike goes from moving to immediately stopping. You fly over the handlebars. It's ugly. Meemaw's got to patch you up. You find an excuse not to go to school until the following Monday. Does that happen here? If it doesn't happen, it's because Shedeur Sanders took over. They probably don't need 35-plus points in this. It's probably a game. If they can get to 30, they should be able to count on a win here because Utah has not been able to score a lot, and Utah is down their number one quarterback, the tight end's down, so it's not a high-powered Ute offense by any stretch. One area that Utah defense can be had in, though, is the explosive play. They're 85th in the country, 85th in explosive play rate given up, which is Colorado's specialty. You just got to have time. This may be a game where, and you guys have seen it before, Shedeur gets sacked 5, 6 times, but it's in the course of a big win because that's just the blueprint for that team right now. A lot of this, a lot of that explosive play rate for Colorado or for Utah, that's run-based. You're going to have to do it through the air. Utah, I think, kind of needs that stat profile we saw last week in that Bama-LSU game that we were at. I think Utah needs a stat sheet that looks like that. 48 runs, 18 passes. It's not going to be the quarterback position that accumulates the run yardage, but that's the game they need. They need to grind it to a halt. They need to bleed clock. They need to limit possessions, and they can do that, but what you can't do is get down 13-0 early and be playing catch-up. What does the model think here? The FanDuel number is Colorado minus 10.5. The model thinks Colorado is minus 11, so it largely agrees. I think Utah has enough here defensively to really challenge in this game. This is as wide of a spread variance as you'll get because Colorado's never been hotter and Utah's never been colder this year. And so 10.5 is a stretch to me. Even though the model agrees, I think the number's a little too big. I think Colorado will win the game. I will take Utah to cover, so I'm going to split the difference there.